Sex workers' rights in India. Sex working or prostitution is an age-old practice or occupation carried out to earn financial benefits. By trading sexual intercourse, societal stigma and prejudice are attached to the business of prostitution and is looked upon as an immoral employment. The countries are divided into three categories in terms of prostitution. Number one, where it is illegal to carry out prostitution. Number two, where prostitution is legal but certain limitations and restrictions are put. Number three, where prostitution is legal and has proper laws. India falls under the second category where prostitution is legal but with certain limitations. माना जाता है कि जो महिलाएं प्रोस्टिट्यूशन में उतरती है उन्हें फोर्सफुली लाया जा रहा है, उन्हें ज़बरदस्ती इस इंडस्ट्री में लाया जा रहा है, बट ये हमेशा ट्रू नहीं होता। ऐसा कई बार होता है कि महिलाएं खुद अपने फ्री विल से आती है क्योंकि उनका इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल साइकोलॉजिकल कॉजेज़ होता है इस इंडस्ट्री में उतरने का, इसलिए वो आती है। आपको पता है कि इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंडर प्रोस्टिट्यूशन इलीगल नहीं है इंडिया में, ये बिल्कुल लीगल है विद सर्टेन रिस्ट्रिक्शंस एंड लिमिटेशंस। Sex work in India is governed by the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956. Okay, now let's study about some of the legal provisions under the act. Managing a brothel is absolutely punishable under the act. Brothels का proper definition भी दिया गया है इस act में. Brothel includes any room, house or place or any portion of any house, room or place which is used for purposes of sexual exploitation or abuse. कोई भी इंसान जिसका एज 18 ईयर्स अबव है वो कोई भी प्रोस्टिट्यूट या सेक्स वर्कर के कमाई पे जी नहीं सकता, उसका कोई भी पार्ट वो नहीं ले सकता है, उसे इम्प्रिजमेंट हो सकता है फॉर मोर देन 2 years। कोई भी थर्ड पर्सन ये पूरे प्रोसेस में इन्वॉल्व नहीं रहना चाहिए अकॉर्डिंग टू द लॉ। इस एक्ट में ये भी बोला गया है कि कोई भी सेक्स वर्किंग, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट, रिलीजियस प्लेसेस, होटल, हॉस्पिटल, नर्सिंग होम और अदर पब्लिक प्लेसेस से 200 मीटर डिस्टेंस में होना चाहिए। अगर ऐसा ना हुआ तो ये जो एक्ट होगा वो पनिशेबल होगा। Another very important point is any child found in a brothel or being abused for the purpose of prostitution has to be placed in an institution for their safety by the magistrate. If a landowner, the leaser or the agent, if he gives his land or his place to some person and if the person is found guilty of this whole act, then the landowner has to get approval from a magistrate before releasing their property. Honestly, I feel that this whole act is a little vague and it is not described properly because on the one hand, the act makes it illegal to own and manage a brothel, even prescribing punishment and fine for the same. But on the other hand, makes it legal for a person to be a prostitute. It is funny, as if you are allowed to be a chef, but you're not allowed to work in a restaurant. Is prostitution bad for society? The world is divided into two different opinions regarding prostitution. Let's discuss both the sides. Well, those who are in favor of this believes that getting rid of the prostitutes or the sex workers will result in increasing of the rape cases in the society. These are the people who believe that sex work is also a work. Those people also believe that sex workers should get labor rights. Sex workers should have the right to go to the police without any fear. Their rights should be regularized. They should be respected in the society. There should be regular health checkups for them. So STDs is under check, and the government should have the date to keep a check that no minor is involved in prostitution. Now let's talk about the people who are against prostitution. They believe that it will reduce trafficking, no more violent sex, no more male dominance over females, reduction in minor sex workers, low pay, no long-term effects on the prostitutes, and decrease in STDs. Let's do a little case study on this matter. Recently, 3 women were held as victims and sent to correctional facility. The mother and other legal guardians of these 3 women approached the magistrate court seeking their custody. The magistrate, however, declined to give their custody to the guardians. When the parents approached the High Court gave judgment in favor of the 3 women. The High Court, in its judgment, said there is no provision under the law which makes prostitution per se a criminal offense or punishes a person because he indulges in prostitution. Another very famous case is Buddhidev Karmaskar versus State of West Bengal. In this case, the sex worker was brutally murdered because she refused to have sexual intercourse with the appellant, which is Karmaskar himself. This led to the landmark judgment of the Apex Court passed for protection of sex worker life by giving a widespread interpretation to Article 21 of the Constitution. Sex workers are also human beings, and no one has the right to assault or murder them. A person becomes a prostitute not because she enjoys it, but because of poverty. Society must have sympathy towards the sex workers and must not look down upon them. They are also entitled to a life of dignity in view of Article 21 of the Constitution. Sex workers are among those communities which have hit hard during the pandemic. The Supreme Court urged the state and the central government to make immediate provision for monetary sustenance, supply of food and basic amenities to sex workers amid the pandemic without insisting on identity documents such as ration cards. The courts want to promote the right to choice of occupation as listed under the Article 19 of the Constitution. For far too long, we have conformed to the Western way of thinking. Our rich history and culture are proof enough to show that when people are given the right support at the right time, society will excel. If the sex workers are recognized by the law and the government formulates well-thought policies for their protection, the cases of being forced into it are bound to go down.